Hello and welcome to session 277 in the AIsafety.com reading group. Tonight we'll be discussing the public debate about AI is confusing for the general public and for policymakers because it is a three-sided debate by Adam David Long. Adam David Long is the founder of LawSnap and blogs on Substack. He has made precisely one less wrong post, which is the one that we are discussing today, and this is 3 weeks old. We have, in fact, right now an AI debate in the public, in no small reason thanks to ChatGPT. There are in fact a lot of people debating AI right now, and this is of course wonderful, but it is not a particular good debate from the point of view of the general public and policymakers. The problem is that most other debates, people are used to the fact that they are two-sided. There are people for and against abortion and the Second Amendment and these kind of things. And in particular, many political systems in the Anglosphere are very tend towards being a two-party system, and that makes it these kind of two-sided debates very much the common thing. But the current AI debate does not look very much like this. The impression people have is that people are talking past each other, and this is an unfamiliar thing for people, because what does the experts say? Compared to something like global warming, there is like one side that contains the experts, and there is no such thing with AI. This is, of course, the part of the reason why this debate is so confusing to the general public is probably because it's also confusing to people in AI safety. Like, this is a very, very unfamiliar, difficult subject to grapple with, even for professionals. It's also one that is moving much faster than it used to do. We don't really have an authoritative source on many of even really reasonably basic facts. A decade ago, we had Nick Bostrom write the book Superintelligence that was this kind of authoritative source, and we don't have anything like that right now. So yeah, it would be nice if Nick Bostrom wrote a new book. I don't think there is any hope that we can get something like that from him, or that a new version of Superintelligence is even possible. So the three-sided framework Adam Long proposes is one with pragmatists in one corner, or realists, doomers in another corner, and in the third corner, the boosters of AI. And this is a simplified model. In my view, I think the actual model of what people believe is dramatically more complicated, but as the saying goes, all models are wrong and some of them are useful. And I think, in fact, a three-sided framework can be really useful, because a lot of people will say they don't understand the debate, and try to explain to them that there are three sides is a simplification that I think can be very instrumentally useful. So let's start with the pragmatists, or the realists. These are people who believe that AI can be used by humans to cause great harm in different ways. Like, large tech companies are embedding their values, like could be things like bias, could be things like an ethnocentric framework, racist AI, this kind of thing. It could be in the great power competition with China, and these kind of near-term concerns are some that a number of people care the most about, and that's the side that they represent in a debate. I think there are probably more subjects within this. Ethics would be a subfield that probably falls under this. There's of course the United States versus China, which is like a really big thing. The debate about lethal autonomous weapons is another subfield of this pragmatist viewpoint. And stable authoritarian systems is one that I think a lot of people care about, and very few people actually work about. And I don't actually think that's a big part of the actual debate. Some people that could be called pragmatists are, well, here's a list: Melanie Mitchell, etc. But Adam Long warns that peoples and positions are not really interchangeable. Like some people have, they change their mind literally, and some people have a more nuanced opinions, and some people are like in between two camps. The second camp in the debate are the doomers. These are Elias Yudkowsky and all the other people, and me. And these are people who, in general, have some political agreement, but also substantial disagreements. One of the biggest places where there's a disagreement is like, should we have a moratorium on AGI, or should it be completely banned even, or should we just do more alignment research? The way I conceptualize the difference, the political difference within the doomer group, is the people who have a big ask and a small ask. Where a big ask would be something like Elias Yudkowsky saying we should just not do AGI, and a small ask would be someone saying, okay, we need to, work more on alignment research. These people are also debating much more than the other camps. There is it's rare that you see the pragmatists or the boosters write these kind of long posts on Less Wrong that you see all the time from doomers. But a lot of the debate among the doomers isn't that much political. It's more like, will there be an explosive intelligence explosion? What are the timelines precisely? What is the probability of doom? These kind of things that are more predictions rather than political matters. The third camp are boosters, which are people that are worried that we're going to miss out on AI saving the world if we try to slow it down, or if we even stop it. And in particular, moral panic overregulation that will create obstacles to innovation, and that is what the AI boosters are worried about. I think there are, to my mind, two kinds of AI boosters. There's the people who believe AI is going to be great, but it's going to be business as usual in the sense that we're not going to see something that is totally transformative, and some AI boosters, like the effective accelerationists in one corner, that believe that this will in fact change everything dramatically and possibly even very soon. So the people that aspire, that are in these AI booster camps, some of them are written here. I think some of them, like Jan LeCun, would be an example of someone who really isn't arguing in the sense that he doesn't write long, well-intentioned articles trying to explain the position and try to find cruxes and things like that in the same way that many others do. So it's more like name calling. I haven't actually read enough of the others to say to what extent they do have substantive arguments for their positions. I should look into and see if I can find something. I haven't found it, so there's a probability that it doesn't exist, but I think I will look more into finding something that they have written. So with these three camps, there are a number of coalitions that can be identified. Adam Long claims that on almost every important issue, one of the positions is opposed to a coalition of the other two. That doesn't necessarily follow. Like, there are many cases where it's possible to pull the rope sideways and find something that many people agree on. And an example would be something like, we should think more about AI. That seems like something that all three camps would agree on. But there are, of course, like the core things, like the probability of doom, or how bad AI will enable people with power to hurt other people. Like these core things they're obviously opposed to each other, these three camps. So one thing that doomers and realists agree on is that AI poses serious risks. they may also agree that corrigibility is going to be an important factor. Realists and boosters might complain that the doomers dominate the debate. I think that is the old bravery debate discussion where everybody believes that they are the small oppressed minority. I think, in fact, that like doomers have like if you grant that the probability of extinction is dramatically higher than 0, then I think the doomers have a moral right to dominate the debate, in that if you believe that there is like more than 10% probability of extinction, then it is in fact morally correct to debate that more than things like AI ethics. And then the final thing that doomers and boosters can agree on is that AI improves rapidly and short timelines are in fact very possible. I think this is true, and I think it's not necessarily obvious that boosters would agree with this, but I think they do in fact agree with this, and some of the effective accelerationists do in fact think that very short timelines are possible, and I think this is something that is a coalition that may be possible to build something with, to make some kind of collaboration. So when people in the general public or policymakers see these kind of coalitions, then they may perceive them as temporary alliances, but Adam Long rejects this and calls this instead strange bedfellows. So are they in fact alliances? That's a good question. I think the doomers are probably, many of them are really principled people, and they would not agree to many kind of alliances. Realists may, that almost sounds like that's in the definition of pragmatists, that they are open to temporary alliances. Boosters perhaps also, I could imagine. That's at least my general view of this. There's an example of a monk debate. I haven't, this is Joshua Bengio, Max Tegmark against Jan LeCun, who may be a booster, and Melanie Mitchell as a realist. And this is an example of a debate 2 against 2 where Jan LeCun and Melanie Mitchell in fact have different points of views. I didn't see this debate, so I don't have any particular comment on this. Adam suggests that other debates are possible on other topics, like for instance, should we have more or less regulation, or will we see AGI in the next 5 years? And these kind of questions could bring out new coalitions, and that may be interesting for the general public. One complication to the model is that the doomers don't actually split very cleanly from the realists, because if you have an axis with like how dangerous is AI for existential reasons, and how much should we worry about AI and power, then the boosters basically say you shouldn't worry about any of these things, and the realists say you should worry about AI and power. But on the people who think AI risk is a big thing, there is a spectrum going from Joshua Bengio, who worry a lot about this, to Yudkowsky, who claim to not really worry much about this. I think whether Yudkowsky does in fact worry about this depends dramatically on the timelines. That if the timelines are very short, then people won't be able to make that much, cause that much damage, cause that much suffering. So I think that may be part of the reason why Yudkowsky is not that worried about that. But I think this is an example of how the political questions cannot really be separated from the predictions. Like, if you predict something that is very bad very soon, then that will have an influence on the political, like how much you should worry about China, for instance. There is another complication, and that is that some people actually hold two seemingly contradictory things in their hand, both that in the head, both that AI is dangerous and we should try to build it really fast, and still working on capabilities. And that may be the most confusing to the general public. People who say like AI is very risky, so we should rush to build it, and we don't really have a good name for them. In the same way that we could call them AI hypocrites. I think that's probably a bad name. We probably want something that like AI doomers. Doomer is a slightly negative word, but doomers can generally accept that, and realists and pragmatists are probably very happy to be called realists. So some kind of naming would in fact be really nice here. So the three people associated with this are Sam Altman, Dario Amodei, and Demis Hassabis, who lead the big AI labs, and that's of course something that makes their particular opinion very, very relevant. One of the things that may distinguish them from the AI doomers is on the axis on how hard is mitigating existential risk from AI, and possibly they believe that this is in fact quite doable, and that is why they try to build AI as fast as possible. But precisely how, like, this is a nuance of the debate that this three-sided model doesn't perfectly capture, and it is unclear to me whether the three-sided model is in fact the correct framework for this. That is all for tonight. Thank you and see you in 2 weeks.